when the first thing you want to do is you want to make sure you have a good glass of wine to drink it out of. I mean, a good glass.
Okay, can I be drinking while you're talking?
Yeah, you can.
Started, and I'm getting really jealous.
Sarah,
Okay.
you.
I'm listening.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm listening.
Okay, so these, what you have, are better than jelly glasses. All right? And wine glasses are shaped, and believe it or not, they have wine glasses shaped for almost every kind of wine that there is, a grape that there is. But they're shaped to, when you smell wine, they're shaped to direct those aromas to your nose when you have the wine glass right down under your nose. Notice that little rim around the top of the glass?
Uh-huh.
That's a sign of an inexpensive glass. That's on there for strength purposes. And it interferes with the flow of those aromatics up the side of the glass. So your better wine glasses don't have any little rounded edge like that. They come right up and in.
Oh, that's so interesting. I would have thought, just clearly not knowing anything about tasting wine, I would have assumed something that looked thin would somehow, for some reason, equate to being cheaper. But now I understand what you're saying. These are built for strength, and those are
those at parties, you know.
Yeah, you want to use those when you got guests. Okay, so when you've got a good glass, you put in your wine, and the first thing you want to do is to look at the wine, and you want to look at the color. And a lot of times they'll say, put a piece of white paper up behind it, so you can get a neutral background. So you can look at it and see the depth of the color. If it's an older wine, you'll start seeing, yeah, see, it's perfect from top to bottom, no change in the color. If you had an older wine, sometimes you would see, especially in a red wine, right around the top edge of the top of the wine in your glass, right around the outer edge. On a red wine, you could notice it doesn't look red. It looks kind of brown, like a brick, like a red brick. That's an older wine. It starts to lose its color probably after 5 or 6 years. It'll start acquiring a little bit of a brownish color. And that's one of the things you can look at if you know you got a certain vintage of a wine and you want to see how much, well, what signs of age is it showing. Look for that color. Doesn't necessarily tell you what it's going to taste like or anything, but it'll just tell you that it's a little bit of an older wine. Swirl your wine. You develop that little rotation so you can get it going, and then don't start talking while you're doing it like I do, because there it'll go all over everything. I've done that more than a dozen times.
And is the amount that you gave us, is that like the legit pour size?
That's a little bit bigger than a pour. A regular pour is about 1.5 ounces to 2 ounces.
Okay.
This is probably 4.5 to 5 ounces is what I poured you.
That's good.
Almost like a restaurant.
Yeah. Monica and I can handle it. We'll sacrifice for the group.
Whoops, I just did it. There it goes. Whoa! We're going to have fun tonight. So what are you doing? You got to tell me what you're doing when you swirl the wine.
Well, I swirled it. Is that supposed to aerate it? I'm making stuff up now. And then then you smell it right then and kind of get a sense of what it's putting off?
Yeah. When you're swirling it, that releases aromatics. And when the wine goes down the side of the glass, those drops that are the little coating on the inside of the glass, that helps release those aromatics up the side of the glass to your nose. So yeah, that's what you do to get your best nose off of it.
And do the pink and white wines, do you look for the legs there? Am I looking at legs?
You can look for legs on any wine you want. And what you do is maybe turn it sideways.
I know something.
Get it up to there, and then just kind of roll it around on a turn, and then quickly take it down and look and see if it sticks on the side. Oh, you aren't going to see much. You don't see much sticking on the side, right?
But do you want it to, or do you not want it to? What's the good one?
What the legs on a glass of wine tell you? Only two things. It tells you how much alcohol's in it or how much sugar's in it.
Really?
That's all it tells you. Doesn't tell you if it's good, bad, or otherwise.
I thought that legs were important, but apparently they're not. Oh, they will, because you don't
They
want
will.
sugar.
If you know the amount of sugar, you know that if it's higher than lower, it's going to be sweeter.
Oh.
Just think of a dessert white wine. Usually they're kind of almost real viscous and sticky and thicker.
Oh.
Okay, they got a ton of sugar. If you did that with one of those legs would be on there forever because it's taking forever for them to go down because they're real thick and sticky. They stick to the side of the glass.
Okay, so this doesn't have a lot of sugar.
No, it's got zero, as a matter of fact. It all the sugars that it started with got turned into alcohol when it was fermented.
Swedish?
You might think it's sweet. It's actually very, very dry. What you are smelling and or tasting is the fruit that's in the wine, and the type of fruit that you taste or you think you're tasting maybe triggers a memory. You've had this kind of fruit. It reminds me of cherries, or it reminds me of raspberries, and those that you've eaten that fruit and you go, oh, in your mind, that was a little sweet.
All right, let's play guess the fruit.
Okay, now another thing I want you to do, you're smelling right now. Everybody take their smell. Take their smell. Now, take it away from your nose and don't smell it. Now, do you have a smell? I think you got some sort of smell, but now go back and smell it again right now.
It's different.
Yeah, it's not near as big of a smell, is it?
No.
No. You know why? Any idea why that happens?
Stop swirling it.
Nope.
Good guess.
Okay, you got all these little receptors in your nose, and what you've done is when you take that big smell, think of it as kind of like you overload those receptors with a big hit of aromatics, and they basically close off. They kind of swell up and they close off because they got hit with that. Now, as we're sitting here talking, if you wait about 45 seconds go by, and then you go back and you smell it again, you should return to roughly what you smelled before the first one. That should come back. This is probably less than 0.2% residual sugar. That's why it's called dry. 0 to 1% is dry. 1 to 3 is called off dry, and above 3 is called sweet.
All right, great. So gallery-1.org. Go there. You'll be able to go directly to the sale.
Yep.
Right. You can shop by winery. You can shop by type of wine. We're going to have some special bottles on there as well. So you'll have all sorts of options and ways for however you prefer to shop. We've made that doable for you.
Or you could just call Joe.
That's right. Forget shopping. Call Joe. He'll hook you up.
It'll be a lot quicker if you go to the website.
I feel like, our wine is just about gone. We've learned a lot about whites, rosés, and started into the reds, as well as learned about how we can access the wines that will be available for this sale. People can essentially pre-order on our website that you can find at www.gallery-1.org and pre-order those.
You can notice a red wine will change its character more noticeably than a white wine will. So you can just sit there and you can just taste these changes that are going on in a red wine. And that's what's really nice about a really good red wine. You can just see it, or actually, well, not see it, but you can experience the change that's going on as it's being exposed to oxygen, which changes all those things that are in the wine.
Well, don't give it all away, Joe.
Yes.
Thank you, Joe, for illuminating on all of your knowledge.
I now know why Sarah dressed up so much for this. It actually is being recorded. You know, if we didn't have the gravel in the back, outside of the back courtyard, we could have not car hops, but wine hops. Yeah, we just sit here. I was painting the house the other day, for God's sakes. What got into me?
Yeah, just call Joe. Like, get him water.
All you got to do is practice. That's the good part.
Oh, that sounds good.
Practice.
I like practice.
I have a lot of days when my smeller, I swear, does not work.
That's a good description. That's what it feels like.
Zippy, zingy.
Mm-hmm.
Like zippity doodah.
Yeah. Zippity doo dah. Fill my glass.
Zippity doo dah. I made sure I didn't eat anything before we did this.
Yeah, there's a bunch of little things that over time you'll pick them up from other people all over the place that it's like, oh, I didn't know that would happen, or that explains why I didn't get this or whatever. And once you understand what's happening, it'll maybe take you a little while, but you will start, when you're drinking wine sometimes, it'll actually maybe stick in your head, and you'll actually try and do something that will replicate when you experience that the first time. And if it works for you again, you'll go, and you'll go, aha.
Canyon.
I'm on it. I'm listening. I can drink it.
Yeah. Well, I was going to tell you how to do that. Wait, hold on.
I'm ready.
Okay.
I brushed my teeth. I had some bread.
There's a little spinach up in your top tooth.
No, there's not. Don't listen to him, Monica.
Can I swish it out with the wine?
Yeah, that'll work. Don't worry about it. This